To our big question then, is GST a great step towards triumph for the nation? And to talk about that, we have Dr. Sachin Chaturvedi with us. He's a well-known economist in DG IRS. Welcome to the show, sir. And well, the Prime Minister really listed out a number of things. He said it will not only curb black money and corruption. He said it will benefit not only the consumer will be king, he said very clearly, benefit the small businesses as men. The small businessmen will get easier loans, they'll find it easier, and even wastage. So do you think all this is possible with just one, well, silver bullet that GST might then prove out to be?
Yes, I think, Gautam, that's absolutely right. It's a very good and very simple tax. So I think it would help in terms of reducing the transaction cost. I remember at one point a study was done to show how expensive it is to get rice from Punjab to Tamil Nadu and how cheap it is to get it from Australia. Because of the huge amount of taxation that each container has to cross while crossing state borders.
Right.
So now with that archaic structure with assorted indirect taxes, we have got rid of all that. You may recall visiting 2 or 3 different states, and at each border point,
yes.
I mean, and Delhi fortunately has 3-4 states around. At each border point, you would see huge queue of vehicles paying taxes,
yes,
etc.
the PM referred to that.
Absolutely. So I think all of that we have got rid of. It's good and very simple tax.
And this will also ensure that a lot of commodities, their prices will come down, so it'll have a direct benefit for the consumer, which is why consumer is king.
It would be a benefit to consumer, definitely, but I think from far from that, it would be a great boon for our producers. We are facing huge competition with our imports, and being part of several international trade regimes, we very well know that goods are landing up, displacing our domestic production, largely because our transaction costs are very high. So our economy would become more competitive, our exports would become competitive, and largely, of course, so consumers would be benefited.
Will be able to compete with the cheap Chinese goods?
It's a big push towards Make in India. It would make our economy highly competitive.
That's why that talk of boost to GDP as well, 1 to 2%.
That's absolutely right. I mean, if you look at other countries, of course, at 20% we are still very high. But if you see other countries like our competitors, South Africa has, for instance, 15%. Malaysia has 6%. So the fact that you have higher rate and so you have more revenue is a notion that we would have to gradually get rid of. But this is fantastic achievement. It's a movement to celebrate.
Do you think, that is a challenge that will have to be taken on at the council of, at the level of the GST Council?
Definitely,
when we come to that
definitely.
stage?
We should see the studies which have been done, which are very clear in terms of the fact that the lower the rate, higher is the revenue.
We have the CA's, the Chief Economic Advisor's recommendations as well.
Yes, exactly. And I think gradually we would have to move in that direction.
The standard rate should be around 17 to 18% and not more than that.
I mean, in case of New Zealand, when they brought it down to 10%, the jump in revenue was 42%.
Okay.
In case of Canada, it was 6%. And now for Malaysia, they have brought it down to 6%. So imagine that we have competition with countries like these. So if we are at 20%, we are still very high.
And what is the data then that says that the standard rate needs to be around 20%? The states are very insistent that otherwise, especially the manufacturing states, that they will have losses.
No, we would have to realize that we are starting from very high point, 27%, 36%. It's varying, of course, from state to state, but several states are very high. They weren't even reduced. I mean, yesterday you might have seen one of the finance ministers from one of the states said it should be 22%.
Yes.
Somebody said it should be 24%. Fortunately, now political leadership has shown the way forward. I think our government should be congratulated. It's a cross-party line that they could achieve 20%. And now big challenges in terms of implementation. How do you have administrative infrastructure, the IT structures that are required, the institutional architecture that is required, all those things would have to fall in place now.
Yes, that will have to be readied on a mission mode, and some of the other issues of duality, of threshold and others, they too need to be addressed. Do you think there is room enough for, again, agreement in the GST Council, because all this will be deliberated and settled at the level of the GST Council, and it won't go to dispute
I think today's
resolution mode.
exercise in Lok Sabha has given a broad direction to this exercise, and with this a mandate has come to the council, and of course we would have to wait till at least 16 states wait it, send it back to Lok Sabha, and then we would move forward with the passage of the bills, etc. So 1st April 2017 is the deadline. I hope by then we would have to really work hard in terms of getting several things in place.
And by when do you think those benefits, if we presume all the right moves will be made, by when do you think all those benefits will start accruing?
It would take at least 2 to 3 years, definitely. And of course, in the beginning, we would have to be very tough, because the tendency of profiteering out of high tax would be definitely there. So I think far more stringent.
Which is why there's been a talk of anti-profiteering provisions as well.
Exactly.
Again, on which the finance minister said that a call will be taken perhaps later if such an idea is mooted.
I think we would have to leverage that strength of the tax administration to see that that tendency is curbed right in the beginning. We would have to be tough on that front, but definitely
then one has
at
to be
this
careful
point
on too much oversight as well, especially the issue of duality, too many, because that's what the PM said, that it will end tax terrorism.
Exactly.
GST should not then work.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, the tax is good and simple. And I think we should retain that while we are bringing in all sorts of efforts to contain inflation or profit-making tendencies that are there in terms of such situations when they arise.
And this, of course, step will boost India's image abroad as well as a source to put money in, to invest. Apart from that, do you think the government will now also go the line of addressing other issues of reform that have been a bit tricky, such as land and labor as well?
See, two things are absolutely clear. The foreign direct investment has already multiplied. And if you see in last several years, we never crossed the mark of $35 billion. Now we have already reached $78 billion. At the same time, the outgoing foreign direct investment has also come down. So this clearly shows that there is a confidence in the economy. With the passage of GST, we have made the system far more predictable. We have also made efforts through the Land Act to give states more power. So a competition among states to move forward in terms of more resources, more investment, and more job creation in their areas, in their territories, is the way forward. And that's what we are moving in. And
do you feel this air of anticipation in the country among a lot of people, experts and otherwise, of high growth levels, sustainable growth levels, 10% and beyond? You think that could be a reality?
Automatically trigger in. It would automatically trigger in the kind of demographic dividend that we have. Now I think we would be leveraging it with the right kind of policies and right kind of thrust in different sectors, making credit available to people, and with startup initiative, a lot of youngsters would come in the market, definitely.
And inflation will not become a worry.
Inflation, fortunately, RBI has managed it very well. I'm sure that continuity would be there.
The governor said that 4% plus minus 2 is what we're going to target for the next 5 years as well.
Definitely. So whoever is the next RBI governor probably would continue the same policies.
Let's hope so, and let's hope that we are on the right path to greater things ahead. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you,
Dr. Chaturvedi.